Captain America is one of Marvel's most iconic heroes, a symbol of justice, perseverance, and hope. But even the Sentinel of Liberty hasn't fought the good fight alone. Over the years, Captain America has had a long line of sidekicks. Some have left a lasting impact, and others, well, let's just say they didn't quite stick the landing. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the history of Captain America's sidekicks, exploring their origins, contributions, and why many of them might be considered failures. And where better to start than with the original, James Buchanan Barnes, better known as Bucky. Introduced in Captain America Comics number 1 in 1941, Bucky was designed to appeal to younger readers, a plucky teenage sidekick who could tag along with Steve Rogers in his fight against the Nazis. Unlike most sidekicks of the time, Bucky was a skilled fighter, but he still represented youthful optimism alongside Captain America's unwavering resolve. However, Bucky's story took a dark turn. In the Avengers number 4, 1964, it was revealed that Bucky died during a mission gone wrong, a loss that haunted Steve Rogers for decades, and became a cornerstone of Captain America's character. His death symbolized the cost of war and the sacrifices heroes make. But as comics evolved, so did Bucky's story. In Ed Brubaker's legendary run, Bucky returned as the Winter Soldier, a brainwashed assassin under Soviet control. His transformation from sidekick to complex anti-hero gave him new layers, and while he occasionally returned to a sidekick or a helper role for Steve, he became more of an equal partner. Despite his legacy, Bucky's evolution highlights a recurring theme. Captain America's sidekicks often outgrow their roles or are reshaped into something entirely different. Next, we have Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. Introduced in Captain America 117, Sam was one of Marvel's first African-American superheroes, a social worker from Harlem who became Captain America's trusted ally. Unlike Bucky, Sam wasn't just a sidekick, he was a partner. With his connection to his Falcon Red Wing and his flight abilities, Sam brought a fresh dynamic to Cap's adventures. Sam became a symbol of equality and justice, standing by Cap in battles against Hydra, racism, injustice in all forms. And when Steve Rogers passed the shield to Sam in Captain America Sam Wilson number 1 in 2015, Sam took on the mantle of Captain America himself, proving he was more than a sidekick. He was a successor. While Sam has thrived in the Captain America role, his time as a traditional sidekick might be seen as less impactful in comparison to his independent journey. Now, let's talk about the sidekicks you probably might not know as well. After Bucky's apparent death, Fred Davis Jr. briefly filled the role of Bucky II during the post-war period. Davis fought alongside a replacement Captain America, William Naslund, but he lacked the depth and connection to Steve Rogers that made the original Bucky so memorable. Fred's role was short-lived, and his legacy is more of a footnote in Captain America's history. Then there's Golden Girl, Betsy Ross, who partnered with Captain America in the late 1940s. While her inclusion was groundbreaking as a female sidekick, her impact was kind of minimal, and she faded into the obscurity after the golden age of comics. Jack Monroe, the third Bucky, had a more significant run. Introduced in Captain America 153, Jack eventually became Nomad, abandoning the sidekick mantle for his own identity. Jack's troubled history with mental health and his ultimate demise highlighted the struggle of living in Captain America's shadow, a recurring theme for many sidekicks. Rick Jones, the second Bucky for Steve Rogers' Captain America, had a much bigger backstory. As the teenager responsible for Bruce Banner becoming the Hulk, Rick already had ties to Marvel's heroes. However, his stint as Bucky was short and marked by guilt and regret for Steve, who was still mourning the original Bucky. Rick's time as Cap's sidekick ended with Steve having a breakdown, showcasing the emotional toll of trying to replace an irreplaceable partner. It was also just a very awkward period for Rick, Cap, and honestly the readers. But don't worry, that's not all. Dennis Dunphy, aka DMan, was a wrestler turned hero who became a loyal ally to Cap in the 1980s. While DMan had heart, he lacked the charisma and the appeal of previous sidekicks, and his character struggled to find his place in Cap's legacy. Nowadays, he is almost completely forgotten, Lemar Hoskins, aka Battlestar, was introduced as a sidekick to John Walker's Captain America during the Captain America run by Mark Gruenwald. Lemar often brought depth and humanity to Walker's often volatile character, but his own potential as a hero was never fully realized. Jack Flag and Free Spirit were also sidekicks who kind of worked alongside Steve in the 1990s, but their stories were often overshadowed by much larger narratives. And while they added diversity to Cap's allies, they never really resonated with fans in the same way Bucky or Sam did, so they never really took off. Finally, for Steve Rogers, there's Bucky Barnes, who took up the mantle of Bucky in the Onslaught universe, and her alternate reality origins made her feel disconnected from the main Captain America storyline. Despite her potential, Bucky struggled to make a lasting impact in the broader Marvel universe. But Sam Wilson Captain America has already had some sidekicks of his own too. First, there's Ian Rogers, Steve's adopted son from Dimension Z, and he became the new Nomad during Rick Remender's Captain America run. Ian's arc explored themes of legacy and family, but his character has largely been forgotten in recent years. Finally, we have Wen Torres, who became Sam Wilson's Falcon during the Captain America Sam Wilson run. While Joaquin brought a fresh perspective as a young, optimistic hero, his lack of development throughout the recent comics has kept him from becoming a standout sidekick in his own right. Though, Joaquin still has a chance to make a major impact, so we kind of will see where his character goes. So, why have so many of Captain America's sidekicks failed? The answer lies in the legacy of Captain America himself. Steve Rogers casts a long shadow, and it's difficult for sidekicks to escape comparisons to the original Bucky or try to establish themselves as more than temporary allies. Many sidekicks were underdeveloped or used as plot devices rather than fully fleshed out characters, leaving them forgotten or overshadowed by Steve's larger-than-life presence. Captain America's sidekicks represent the many facets of heroism, loyalty, courage, and the struggle to live up to a legacy. While some, like Bucky and Sam Wilson, have grown into heroes in their own right, many others have fallen by the wayside. Their stories remind us that even the greatest heroes need help, and that not every sidekick can stand the test of time. But what do you think? Which Captain America sidekick do you feel deserves more recognition, and why have so many of them failed to make a lasting impact? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.